Like Dylan said in the beginning, he wanted you to write things down. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. You can just think about it in your mind, or you can write it down if you choose to. But when you hear a realtor talk about referrals and building your referral muscles, what do you think of?
Money.
Write it down. Don't call it out. I'm going to ask you to call out later, but write it down. What about your skills? What personal skills can you draw upon to help you get more referrals? And in terms of your business, what percentage of your business is generated by referrals, and what percentage would you like it to be? So the beautiful women from Maui talked about referrals with agents, and we have a huge opportunity because of EXP and its workplace. But I'm going to be talking about how do you create raving fans and get referrals with your customer. So I asked my billion-dollar assistant, known as ChatGPT, why should someone in sales get referrals? And this is what ChatGPT said. With referrals, when someone refers someone to you, that's a quality lead. That's not someone browsing. The conversion rate when someone is referred to you is probably the highest conversion rate you'll have. Referrals are cost effective, right? Just think, your raving fans are doing the marketing for you. It doesn't cost you a cent. Why does that keep happening? There's a faster sales cycle. Usually those people are ready to go into action. There's increased loyalty, right? Because they're referred by someone that already knows, likes, and trusts you. And so the opportunity to build a lasting relationship is better. And you get more insight, right? Through referrals, when I ask a client, what did they like about the help we offered them, they're going to tell me, what was special to them. And that's what I want to make sure I deliver to the person they refer me to. And at the end of the day, when you think about our relationships and the lifetime value of a client, or if you're with EXP and you're thinking of agents, it can be a very big number. So we've heard about mindset. It all begins with mindset. And here are 5 keys to your mindset. The first thing is deepen your commitment to referrals. So think about the things you do in your life. Things you like to do, things you might do. Maybe you like to go to the movies, and sometimes you'll go. But what are those things you're committed to? Like, I was honored to spend the night at Dylan's house, and his older son, he's committed to playing basketball. I mean, we were up for the 5 o'clock, 5:10 thing this morning, and I said, well, what time do you go to school? He said, 6 a.m. I said, 6 a.m.? He said, yeah, I'm going to basketball practice. So he's committed, and my question to you is, what is your level of commitment to building your referral muscles? So you've got to have a referable consciousness. And by the way, as I go forward, I'm going to be working through some scripts. Don't write them down, because I got to go fast through my slides.
And you're going to get the slides.
Oh, yeah, you'll get the slides. Yeah, so telling the truth no matter what. Be conscious about being on time, right? When you tell someone you're going to be on time and you don't show up on time, then the trust that person has for you is going to erode. And if you build that habit, that's not going to support you in building a referable relationship. Consciously be more interested than interesting. Who can tell me what that means to them? Yeah.
Be a good listener.
Yeah, be a good listener. So you want to be more interested in their story then be interesting about your story. And you want to be conscious to admit when you're wrong. We had some slides up here, and Dylan always has a focus on gratitude that I'm grateful that you do. Consciously give people permission to give you feedback and how they feel about you and the service that you're providing. Because you're going to see as we go through these slides, all the opportunities that you can integrate to your practice to get more referrals. Another thing I talked about in mindset is rising above your fears. Now, you may have heard that fear is just an acronym for false expectations appearing real. And what would cause the fear in terms of asking for a referral? Well, when I come from a place of weakness, when I don't have the confidence, maybe you feel like you haven't provided that client enough value in the transaction. You haven't planted the referral seeds, and we're going to be going through that. You ask for a referral before you ask for comfort. And so the mindset of what I'm sharing with you today is you're not going to someone needy and saying, hey, can I get a referral from you? The question is, are you comfortable referring me? You want to get their permission. And your conscious programming is stacked with limiting beliefs. I worked with Keller for a couple of years. They used to talk about this thing called the drunk monkey, that voice inside our head. I coach with a guy named Sean Kokoska who wrote a lot of the Keller programs. He renamed it the Mick. He calls it my inner cynic. And again, that's that voice inside. And we need to find ways to quiet it if it's getting loud. So a positive mindset is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. The next thing is, how do we use language? How do we listen? And how do we use our language to persuade or guide a conversation? I recently learned, there's a lot of power in the words we speak. So think about it. If you're a person and I said, do you know how to get referrals? And you say, I've never done that. I never do that. A better way to say it would be, up until now, I haven't gotten a lot of referrals. Because you're opening the possibility. You may have never done it because you haven't spent any time working on that muscle. So think about that. So here's some examples of different words we can use. So, Melanie, yeah. So what does the word service mean to you?
Being available, doing the right thing, helping them with all their questions they have.
Okay, great. Eric, what does the word help mean to you?
Do what you can to help people. I don't know.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Being a servant.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you remember, you guys are all younger than me. I think I can say that in this room. But many decades ago, there was a product called Life Alert. All right, it was a product that you put on, and if a senior person needed, and their commercial was help. I need help. And the whole idea of help is that I'm solving a problem. And the way that people feel about getting your help versus serving them. Here's another thing. What does the word satisfied mean to you?
Happy, content, appreciated in a sense.
And how about the word happy, Shireen?
That's me. I don't know.
Yes, that is you. You are happy. Well, when you think about it, if I asked you, how did you like that Italian restaurant? And you said, well, I was satisfied with it. Would you go run out and have dinner there?
No.
What if I said, boy, I was really happy with it. The service there was fantastic. Would that have a different meaning? So that's what I'm talking about in terms of using language. And these are all words that help build trust, right? Suppose your client says, well, what advice could you give me on the price, on the offer? And you said something like, well, let me tell you what I'd say to my best friend. And then you go on to give the advice. So these are words that build trust, right? And I love this to remember. Whoever talks the most dominates the conversation. Whoever asks the most questions controls it. So the next thing about language is we as realtors need to teach people to give a referrals. 15% of the people you work with are going to give you a referral. 15% of the people you work with don't ever refer anybody to anything for anything. But the other 70%, that's what these kind of tools and awareness and language is for. So what percentage of those 70% are you going to make into your raving fans? So here's something you could say. And when I look at real estate, there's three components. There's the before unit. They're a Zillow lead. I'm talking to them. Maybe I'm showing them houses. There's the during unit. What is that process like? How am I serving them? How's the escrow going? How am I staying in contact with them? How do they think I'm doing? And there's the after unit. What do I do with that relationship once they've moved into your home? How do I nurture that? And so think about this script. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, now my purpose is for you to be so outrageously happy with the help that I provide that you would gladly introduce me to the people that you care about. So imagine saying that to a person that you're just beginning with. That would be called planting a referral seed. And for people to refer you, right, they have to notice other people. When they notice other people that may need your services, they have to think about you. And they have to introduce them to you, right? Here's another example. Aloha, Mr. and Mrs. Fujihara. Here's 3 simple steps to follow in the days and weeks and months ahead when you're in a conversation with a person who mentions they're considering buying or selling or investing. Step 1, take out your phone. That's a kinesthetic command. You have to do it and feel it. Step 2, visual. Look up my phone number. Step 3, call me and tell me the best way that we can connect. Right? So think about that as a strategy versus, hey, if you see anyone that can use my help, would you refer them to me? Did you tell them what to do? Did you tell them how to get in touch with you? Or how about this? I love this script. When would now be a good time to put my name and phone number in your cell phone directory? Because the next time you're in a conversation with a person who mentions they're buying, selling, or investing on the island, you can easily take out your cell phone, look up my number, and call me, which means they can get the help that they need right away. You can even do this with your voicemails, right? You can be specific. Now, this may seem a little over the top to you, but, call yourself what you want people to call you. Do you want them to think of you as a realtor? Do you want them to think of you as a consultant? Do you want them to think as your friend in the real estate business? What do you want to call yourself? And future pacing statements, which you'll see in some of these scripts, means you are saying it with the knowledge that it's going to come true. It's going to happen. You're putting that, energy out in the universe. Okay, so here's my voicemail. Now, some of us, and this, if you call me now, you're not going to hear this, by the way. But how many of you have something like, hey, this is Ronnie Margolis. I'm away from the phone. Your call's important to me, so leave your name and number. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, that person can say, I wonder, does that mean he's going to call me in an hour? He's going to call me in 3 days? It's not very specific. But imagine having something where you integrate some of this. Hey, thanks for calling. This is Ronnie Margolis, your personal real estate consultant for life. I'll be back in the office after the inspections that I'll be on and returning phone calls between 2 and 3. At the sound of the tone, leave your name and number and your phone number where I can reach you. And the next time you're in a conversation with a family member or coworker who mentions they're currently renting, picture yourself, right? I'm future pacing. Picture yourself calling me up, letting me know who they are. I've got a great list of homes here in whatever that neighborhood is that I could spell it this morning, but I don't remember your neighborhood, that people could live in for the same amount of money as they're renting. Have a great morning, and I'll talk to you at 2. So look at all those things. 1, you're being very specific. 2, you're letting them know you're a professional realtor. You're out there working. You're on a home inspection. 3, you're telling them exactly when you're going to get back to them. And 4, you're planting a referral seed. So use your words to connect, persuade, build comfort, and teach your clients how to refer their friends, their family, their neighbors, anyone that they care about to you. Okay, this is fun. I'm at 14 minutes, Dylan. Master the 3 basic questions. So, who wants to be my first volunteer to answer the first question? Okay. What do you do?
I help people find homes or live their dreams.
That's great. Thank you. Yes. I help people live their dreams. What do you do? You're at a party and someone says, oh, what do you do? You. Okay, thank you. Oh. What if you told a story? What if you brought something in? Because when someone says to you, what do you do? And you guys both gave excellent answers. And you say, I'm a realtor. I'm a real estate agent. For some people, that's like one step above a used car salesman. And it's also probably the end of the conversation, right? Now, what if you told them a story, that represents, you understand their situation and you make it relatable? Now, here's just a simple example. Ask me what I do, Eric.
What do you do?
What do you own a home? Cool, well, that's what I do. I help make people's dreams come true. I'm a real estate consultant. Now, suppose I'm talking to a person my age at a party, and they said, what do you do? And I said, well, let me tell you a story. I had a client that really wanted to downsize. She's in her 70s, and problem is she needed to sell a house to buy a house. She needed the money from her sale to move into a smaller place. And it was, there's very low inventory on Kauai, and, we had to wait for the perfect house, and lo and behold, just by calling the realtors and bothering the realtors, I found a realtor whose dad was building a spec house, and she was able to get into a brand new home that kind of exceeded her dreams. And I'm curious, if your best friend was a senior and they were making a move downward into a smaller, stress-free home, do you have a real estate consultant that you would feel comfortable introducing them to? You see how the conversation engages? Now, I like this. I think often about the idea of each of us with the opportunity with EXP being an entrepreneur. And it could apply to any business that you're in. But if someone says, what do you do? I can say I'm a realtor, but what if I say I'm building my brokerage globally and internationally? Because each of us have that opportunity. Now I'm not a real estate agent, now I'm an entrepreneur. And I often tell people, do you know why most realtors fail, Dylan?
I got some ideas.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know because you're doing it. I say they fail because they think like real estate agents and they don't think like entrepreneurs. So, when you get into when you identify yourself, right, it's all about identity. When I identify myself as an entrepreneur, then that's how people see me. Okay, next question. Kara,
Yes.
how's business?
Fantastic.
Great, okay, thank you. Shireen, how's business? Okay, they both great and fantastic. Now, what does that mean to the person? Because, well,
That's a who's asking.
what if you say something like this? Because they, what does that mean to them? That's not specific, right? Well, things are going well, and it is nice to know that I have time for you, time for your family, or anyone else you know who could use my help. Because think about it, if you say great, where does the conversation go from there?
No, right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious, who do you know that'd love to own their own home? Because when you introduce them to me, they could understand what their best options are in today's marketplace. Okay, how's the market? Ryan, how's the market, man, on Kauai? You are fantastic. Okay, Ryan, stand up. Could you please say that one more time?
Depends. Are you interested in buying or selling or investing in property?
Okay, what a excellent. Thank you so much, Ron. How about this? Well, experience shows it depends on where you live. Hey, I'd love to do some research and send you an email that'll tell you what homes are for sale, what homes have sold, how long those homes are taking to sell in your neighborhood. When the person asks you how's the market, they're not asking you how the market is for you. They want to know how is it for them. And this is a way to answer that. That way you can feel secure in the knowledge you have the most accurate information that'll tell you right away how the market is for you. I imagine that information would be valuable to you, wouldn't it? So the whole idea is use words that help people open up. Master those 3 questions. Think about that and how to integrate that, and how to integrate that language to get more referrals. Now, these next 2 slides, value to consider with respect to worth. You need to help people recognize your value. And value isn't what you say it is, it's what your customer says it is. So we need to learn and listen and observe, be mindful of what that is. And of course, gratitude. A feeling of appreciation. I had a funny story yesterday. Kara helped me execute a sale on Maui that was what I call a bluebird, like a client calling me up and saying, hey, could you write an offer for me? A property on Maui I knew nothing about. And so I called up the client to thank him, but then I called the gentleman that referred me to the client. And I told him I was sending him a gift certificate for this fantastic Italian restaurant in downtown Philly. Little did I know that he is a policeman. He said, oh, that place is a money laundering place. That made sense because they wouldn't take my credit card. They said they only gave out gift cards with cash. So, whatever you're grateful for, you get more of. We've got to master the referral conversation. I've given you a few scripts that you can use today, and you'll get the slides. But, there are many tools and techniques to become more masterful in our language. Of course, active listening, is an amazing tool. But when you have a kid that's like doing something you don't want them to do, and you say, don't do that, what happens? Because in the mind, the way the brain hears that is, I don't do that. I don't do that. When I say, hey, please don't keep me a secret, they hear, I don't keep you a secret. So that's another nice phrase to use to remind people. People don't, most of our clients, the ladies were talking about referrals with other agents. They know what a referral is. And there's a whole art and science to that. But people don't know how our business works. And, with your family, how many of your family members know what it is you do, know how much you care about your clients, and would be grateful, if they understood the level of value and service you provide. So, I got 5 minutes left, and are you guys courageous?
Yes.
No, are you guys courageous?
Yes.
Okay, so here's something you can do if you're courageous. It's a referral challenge, and here's what you do. Make a list. Make a list of your top 35 to 40 clients, or sphere if you don't have that many clients. And the first thing you do is you send them a text, and you're looking for permission. Hey, Jasmine, I'd love to talk to you now. Is now a good time, or would 2 be better? Now, sometimes that person is going to text you back, and they want to know, hey, what's up? What do you want? Don't respond in the text and tell them what you're calling for. Do not. Think of something else to say. Well, I'd just love to hear the sound of your voice and tell you a few interesting things that are happening in the Kona market these days. What time works for you? Okay, once you get permission, and if you make a list of 35 people, they're not all going to respond, but don't draw a conclusion with your mic that they don't like me anymore, or they don't care about me, or they're ignoring me. They could be off in South Africa recruiting agents or something. But have a forward conversation. Does everybody know what that means?
No.
Okay. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. You're just making a connection. Sometimes I feel like I am so embarrassed to call this person, and I sold them a house 10 years ago. I've never spoken to them. So I lift up the phone, I feel the pain of that, and sometimes, I feel I'm so embarrassed that I haven't spoken to you in the last 10 years, and they go, yeah, we feel bad too that we haven't been in touch with you. But is my inner mind expecting that response? No. So actually, I also called to ask you a question. In the next week or two, you're going to notice people that need my help. It could be a colleague, a friend, someone who mentions they need help. When you do, would you feel comfortable introducing them to me? Now, what happens if they say no? What will you do? There you go. What would make you feel comfortable? I want to know. They still may not feel comfortable, but maybe there's a chance I can do something that would make them feel comfortable. If they say yes, which they usually will if they're one of your good clients, the same thing I said before. When you do, what you do. When you do meet that person, here's the same instruction. Take out your cell, look up my number, call me. Right? I'm teaching them how to send me a referral. As soon as that's done, send a text. I prefer sending a video text, kind of summarizing the conversation and reminding them to feel comfortable referring me. And then immediately write a note card. Aloha, Kara. It was great chatting to you today. Glad to hear your kids are doing great. Well, experience shows that the last phase of a real estate transaction is when the people you care about need the most skilled advisor representing them. So let's make sure the people you care about get the representation they deserve. You can count on me to deliver skilled advice to the people you care about. And that is called a complete communication. So we talked about mindset, magic words that you can use, those 3 questions to master your response to, being aware of how to create value, and expressing your gratitude and appreciation. So, mahalo to all of you for listening to me. And mahalo to Dylan and all the people on your team. I really feel honored to have the relationship I've been building over the last few years with Dylan. I love our like-mindedness. I love picking his brain on technology. And so I hope that continues for a long, long time. Thanks again.